can't see the comments on the computer. It's bizarre. But I can on the phone, so I can multitask. Oh, dude, I'm live. I'm over here watching it on the phone, watching y'all. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Hello, Joseph, Aaron, Giglietti. Hang on, guys. I've got to turn my own volume down. So, dude, this is so weird. So this is the fourth episode of the Frank Kern Show. Today is the 17th. Had to look for a minute. You know, we are halfway through the year, officially halfway through the year. And we did this show last week. We went way over time. We were on like an hour or something. And I was reading the comments after the show, and there was this big debate over whether or not it was live. You know, a lot of people declaring shenanigans. A public declaration of shenanigans right there on the Facebook. And I want to tell you that it is, in fact, live. So what time is it now? Well, let's see. Well, I don't know. It's whatever time it is, 11. So it's late, later than we should be right now. Today's the 17th, 11:05, said Sassy. Today's the 17th. Let me tell you how we do it live. Because every show, people say, hey, how do you do that live on the Facebooks, and is it really live? So what we're doing is we're using this little app called Wirecast. It is made by Telestream, the same folks who make ScreenFlow, which is a great application for recording your screen if you're a Mac user. And what Telecast lets you do is you can take multiple cameras, run them through like a thingy. What's that thing called, Sassy, a TriCaster. How about that? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you know we're legitimate because A, I'm wearing a blazer, B, we've got a TriCaster, and C, I have a CIA earpiece, which I won't be using today because we broke the Skype thingy. So is the TriCaster super expensive?
5,000 to 50,000.
All right, those are $5,000 to 50,000. Do you have to have one of those things to do a live show? Can you do it like non? Y'all can't hear him, can you?
A couple different sources. It's just, for the fancy graphics.
So you can like plug it straight into your computer if you want to and not have to be fancy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can conceivably plug it straight into your computer. Naturally, we got to be fancy. We could, in fact, put a PowerPoint together. If y'all want us to put a little PowerPoint together for the next show to show you how we're doing this, we'd be happy to. But the bottom line is, it really is live. No shenanigans going on here. Yet, anyway. I'm not above it. Of course, actually, I have committed accidental shenanigans. First of all, the purpose of this show, this show is called The Frank Kern Show. We come to you live every Friday, almost, at 11 Pacific. We won't be live next Friday. I'm holding a workshop for some clients, but we might do it earlier in the week. And the purpose of this show is to help you turn advertising into profit consistently. And yes, I have committed shenanigans, and I owe a public apology to Facebook. Facebook, I am sorry. I have made the dumbest mistake ever. People for years have used my image and likeness and name in their ads, and it drives me crazy, and I have whined and whined and whined about it. And damn if I didn't do the same thing to Facebook. So on the show, I figured, hey, it'd be easy if I just, instead of giving my Facebook fan page address, which is like facebook.com/9million/ all kinds of stuff, I just registered a domain. And I could just forward the domain. I think you know where this is going. I could forward the domain to the Facebook. Well, being the rocket scientist genius that I am, I went and I registered the domain name frankkernfacebook.com. And man, it was like a matter of days, and my registrar sends me an email and says, hey, we forwarded your contact information to this legal department. And I'm like, oh God, this is terrible news. Turns out it was Facebook because Rocket Science Kern here violated their trademark using their domain name in my domain. Of course, I deleted the domain immediately, apologized to Facebook. But man, I tell you, half of winning is not doing stupid stuff. And anyway, sometimes you do stupid stuff. So when you do own up to it, apologize, and move on. That's what we just did. And really embarrassing, right? I mean, of all people to do that, So let's talk about some good news. I have officially, and this actually is related to you, by the way, officially doubled our business from where we were on this day last year to this day this year. So the first half of last year to the first half of this year. We have grown by 100%. We have doubled the business, which is great. So the question is, how did I do it, and what can I help give to you where you might actually get some benefit as well? Well, here's what I have done. Other things for celebration too. Lost 8 pounds in the past 10 days or so. That's pretty good. Trying to get rid of these right here. I mean, who needs more than one chin? I don't need a chin surplus. Also, great news, my beautiful wife, Natalia, has made her first sales from advertising to cold traffic in the past 72 hours. She did that. So more on how we did that. But when we come back from this commercial, I'm going to share with you a very simple process that I have used to literally double our business from where we were last year. That is a 100% growth. But right now, it's time for a blatant commercial that sells my stuff. Are you ready, Sassy? All right, let's fire it up. Check this out.
Do you want more clients for your coaching business or your consulting practice or maybe your professional services firm? Or maybe you might just want better clients, clients that are easier to sell, that pay you with less resistance and that actually do what you tell them to do. Well, here's the thing. It's all in the way that you attract them. And the bottom line is this. There are basically 3 types of prospects that you can attract into your business. The first type is called low-hanging fruit. The second type is called a mid-level prospect. And the third type is called a cold prospect. A low-hanging prospect is someone who knows who you are and are already looking for the solutions that you have to provide. These could be people who follow you on Facebook, people who are already on your list, people who you have affinity with, etc. A mid-level prospect is someone who doesn't necessarily know who you are, but they are looking for the solutions to the problems that you can help them with. And a cold prospect is someone who doesn't know who you are, they're not actively looking for a solution yet, but they're a good candidate for your solution. And here's the bottom line. Regardless of which type of prospect you're attracting, at the end of the day, in order to convert them into an actual client, you're going to need to talk to them. You're going to have a conversation with them that demonstrates you can help them by actually helping them and then convert them into a sale. So the question is, how do you do this without chasing them? How do you do it without being annoying and without being salesy and without having to sacrifice your dignity? And really importantly, how do you do it without wasting time? How do you have these conversations but make sure you're only talking to people who are highly likely to actually become your clients? Well, the answer is in a simple process called the IIO framework. And I'd like to give you that framework for free in my new book called How to Get Consulting Clients Fast, Even If Nobody's Ever Heard of You. You can get it at newkernbook.com. It's totally free. I just ask that you help me out with the shipping, which is a whopping $5.60 anywhere in the world. You can get it right now today at newkernbook.com.
To Frankie. Oh, I'm live again. Man, I tell you, we are nothing but trained professionals right here. So naturally, I erased one of the slides I'm about to show you and had to rebuild it during the commercial. That's why we have commercials, to give me a little break, to pull my act together here during the show, because it's live. So first of all, thank you to everyone who's being real nice. I didn't realize I could read the Facebook comments on my phone here. Can't see it well on the computer. It's weird. So East Ortegon, good to see you. Cornelia, Siddhartha, Terry, thank you. Michael G. Heslop, nice to see you, sir. Cooking and Eating Passion. That's a good name. How do you cook and eat passion? I wonder. I bet it's delicious. Thank you guys for being here. Tom Bell, nice to see y'all. Okay, so what is the magic formula that has helped me do all kinds of stuff? Well, here's the thing. First thing you got to do is you got to be aware of the fact that problems exist, and the problems just ain't that bad if you use this formula. So this is a little system that I use to overcome all kinds of problems, whether it's a campaign not working, something not going according to plan, which nothing ever goes according to plan, etc. And I've kind of done it unconsciously and just became conscious of the framework of it when I had a conversation this week. So I give a lot of unsolicited advice to people, which is the worst kind of advice you could give. Free, unsolicited advice. Who wants that? So a friend of mine's got this company, and they do around 15 million bucks a year or so, which is pretty good. Pretty good, I tell you. And they're in the middle of this promotion, and I'm like, all right, man, I hit refresh on all of my stats like 9,000 times. I've hit refresh on my wife's stats about 9,000 times. I'm out of stuff to hit refresh on. I'm going to text these guys and see how their campaign's doing. So I text them, and I'm like, hey, man, how's the campaign doing? And the campaign was in the toilet. It was totally flopping, which sucks. So they're like, yeah, man, campaign's not working. We're going to kill it. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. We don't know if the campaign is actually not working. In fact, you have to look at all of the moving pieces. So what I want to share with you right now is a little framework on what to do in the inevitable event that things don't go according to plan. This is effective for just about everything, by the way. All right, let's see if we can do the split screen. How about split screen? Oh, look at that. Okay, so this is a little framework. It's called MODA, okay? And each letter stands for something. Go figure, right? And that's the slide that I just made there while the commercial was playing because we're highly professional. So the MO stands for, now is that, the middle one is what they're seeing. Oh, I can see it right there. Okay, duh. Trained professionals, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, on episode 20, we'll probably have it dialed in pretty good. Okay, so the MO, first two letters there, that is one step simultaneously. You're doing two things. Thing number one is you are measuring. When it comes to like just about everything where you're trying to achieve a desired outcome, whether it's lose weight, whether it's make more money, whether it's get more Facebook fans, whether it's whatever, you have got to measure the results. If you don't know, your numbers, you're flying blind. A lot of people said, man, how did you lose, 7 pounds or 8 pounds, I think, actually, in the past week or so? I said, well, first of all, I followed a very simple process: eat less, work out more. You got to love the fitness industry, by the way. I mean, these guys are in a multi-billion-dollar a year industry basically saying eat less and work out more, various different ways. But the other thing that helped me was I measure everything now. I got this little app on my phone called My Net Diary, where you just enter what you eat, and it says, all right, man, you've had too many calories. You got to dial it back. And it keeps track of how many steps I'm taking and all that. That helps me guide. It's like being in an airplane. If you don't have the radar on, you can't see the ground, you're going to crash the plane. So you got to measure everything. The second thing, in MO right here, is observe. So you want to measure and observe. So assuming you're measuring everything that's going on, so let's bring it back to business in terms of a campaign, right? You want to observe and measure everything that matters in that campaign. And the observe phase is you just want to look at what happened, right? Well, what is the result I have gotten so far? So let's talk about specifically when it comes to selling things on the intranet. That's the proper term. I think I could have Frank Kern intranet, and I wouldn't be violating trademark there. I think that'll work out pretty good. I wonder if it's taken intranet. So what do you measure when we're selling things on the internet? Well, first of all, assuming you're advertising, which you should be, we're going to measure the ad itself, right? So you're going to measure your click-through rate and your cost per click. And there's a process for identifying what's going wrong and how to fix it. I'll give you an example here in a minute. Now, the second thing we want to measure is what happens when they click. That means we're usually driving them to pages, right? So what's your opt-in rate? If you're driving people straight to a sales page, what is the conversion rate of that sales page? Now, in another environment, for example, if we're running webinars or live events, we would measure show-up rate, A. Let's go to a webinar, actually. Let's think about it in that way. So a webinar is really comprised of 4 people. People who show up, people who don't show up, people who show up and see the offer, people who show up and don't see the offer, and then, of course, there's buyers, right? So you measure how many showed up. What's my show-up rate? How many stayed to see the offer? How many left early? How many actually bought? So those are 4 things you're actually measuring in a webinar campaign. When it comes to email, you're measuring your open rate, your click-through rate. And by the way, when it comes to click-through rate, you want to measure in terms of how many people opened, not your list size. So when you look at your stats, it'll say, hey, you had a 1% click-through rate. Well, they're saying 1% of your list clicked, but that's not really accurate. You want to look at the percentage of people who opened actually clicked the link, right? So your next step, now you know what to measure, you got your numbers on everything. You got to have these numbers, by the way. If you don't, you're just guessing, which is like bad. And by the way, if you don't have these numbers and you're doing pretty good, once you have these numbers, you'll do a lot better. Trust me on this one. So the next thing you want to do is you want to assess, right? So if something's going wrong, or even if it's going right, you want to accurately assess the situation. So with all of those measurements handy, okay, what you want to do is you want to say, all right, where is the system failing? Okay, so let's say we've launched a new campaign and we're running ads to it. Well, we already know we got basically 3 things that can happen. They're either not clicking, that's the ad, all right, or they're not opting in or buying. Let's say you're a traditional marketing funnel where they opt in for something free and you email them to sell them stuff. So the next part of the funnel that could be broken is they're not opting in. And the final thing would be they're not buying. Well, if they're not buying, it's probably because the email's broken, all right? So where's the system failing? Where is it working? What can be maximized? And here's the thing. You never want to try to drive the car using the transmission. Transmission ain't going to drive the car. So here's what I mean by that. When we've got a campaign, a marketing system, right? So you guys all know the drill. Let's say we're doing a traditional marketing system where someone requests something for free. Then we have a follow-up sequence that drives them to a sales page that sells. Every element of that system is like a gear in a machine, kind of the way a car works. Every part of a car has a very specific job. And what you need to understand is that we never want to try to make one part do the job of another part. All we want to do is find ways to make each part perform better as a piece of the singular whole. And when you do that, the entire machine runs a lot smoother. So one mistake I see people making all the time is, for example, they will try to sell the product in the email. Well, email's not for selling. Email's to get the click. Website's job is to sell. See what I mean? All right, so the final thing is once you have assessed the situation, we now decide, what am I going to do? What changes need to be made to move me closer to the result? I almost said the resort. To move me closer to the resort, or to get even more of the result if I'm getting it even more. And finally, once you have made that decision, you act on that decision without distraction. You act in a sprint. You get it done as quickly as possible. Don't get distracted by other stuff. Just get it done and then repeat that process. So that's how you can pretty much solve any problem that's solvable. Now, if your brother-in-law is a complete psychopath, you can't fix you can't use this problem-solving solution to fix your psychopathic brother's mental challenges, right? But anything business-wise is can be solvable. You can use this little formula to go ahead and solve it. So when we come back from the commercial, which I assure you is a blatant pitch for you to buy my stuff, I'm going to walk you through one element of your funnel that nobody really ever measures that you can use this little process on and tweak pretty good. So let's play ourselves a commercial here, and I'll see you in a sec.
You want to know something? I'm jealous. You want to know why? It's because of these two right here. That's Ashley on the left. That's Aurora on the right. And these two ladies help me run the company. They work in the grown-up office along with Tyler and Maria. So why am I jealous of these two? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because I'm pretty sure my customers like them more than they do me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're super nice to everybody. Or maybe my customers think those girls are prettier than me, which is like dumb, because there's them and there's me, so that can't be it. So I was wondering, and I'll tell you why I think it is. It's because those two are authorized to totally hook you up. And here's how. If you text the word deal to 858-239-1008, they're authorized to give you a huge discount on any of my products that you want. Just text the word deal to 858-239-1008. Here's how it works. Just text the word deal to that number below, and they'll get the text. They'll text you back, and they'll say, hey, what do you want a discount on? Then all you need to do is tell them what product you want and how much of a discount you want, and if it's within reason, you got it. So text the word deal to 858-239-1008. Want mass control at an obscenely good deal? Text 858-239-1008. Want list control? Want mass conversion? Want info business blueprint? Want video black box? Anything you want, if you text deal to 858-239-1008, they're authorized to hook you up if it's within reason. Assuming you let them know that, quite frankly,
do we still do the thing where it says, where you can hear me when the tail end of the video is going on? Yeah. We can sound like we're official?
5 seconds.
Does it,
My audio's coming up.
so I don't need to say anything stupid when you say 5 seconds. Far be it from me to say anything stupid. Never happened. Ever. Except for like roughly every 15 minutes. Okay, you know, this is so cool, man. I can see you guys kind of on Facebook. So good to see you, Stephen Garcia, Andrew Fox, Feekers, my man. Tom Bell, what's happening? Jason Swank. Man, anyone who owns an advertising agency needs to follow my man Jason Swank, which is spelled S-W-E-N-K, by the way. He built and sold a very successful digital marketing agency, and he's a smart mofo. He's a good fella. Let's see, old Tom Bell, James O'Kelly is strangely fascinated with my hair. He said, what happened to the longer hair? Well, I got it cut. And he says, you look too much like a businessman. Well, I am a businessman. But I do miss looking cool. But I am not cool. So I guess that would kind of be false advertising. If I looked cool, if I presented myself as a cool person and hereby was not cool, I would be guilty. Guilty of false advertising. That's the last thing we want to have happen. Owen O'Malley. CJ Halleck, what's up, man? And CJ, I'm going to do exactly that. All right. Carmelia says, can this solve all my problems? No, it cannot. But the ones that are solvable, give it a shot. Try it and see. Works pretty well for me. Yannick Silver. Elvis #1 has joined us today. Hadn't seen my man in so long. How you doing, man? We once drove, I can neither confirm nor deny that there was debauchery involved, but Yannick and I once drove a lime green Lotus convertible from Los Angeles to Denver, Colorado in a race called the Players Run, which is about as stupid as it sounds, especially considering the fact we were dressed as Elvis every single day. And we were dressed as Elvis in various stages of Elvis's life. Oh, man. Geniuses all the way. That was a good time. We should do that again. Okay, let's talk about this one little element and of the funnel that can be fixed. So when I'm talking to the folks earlier in the week, last week I think it was, that were running the promotion wasn't working, right? And I said, hey man, wait a minute, before you kill the promotion, let's use Moda and let's see where the problem is, right? And I was like, all right, you're only really going to have two things that are going wrong, because it was an email promotion to their list, right? So you're only going to have two things that are going wrong here. Number one, they're not clicking the email. Number two, they're going to the offer, but they're not buying it. Either one of those problems are fixable. Let's see which one it was. Well, they hadn't thought about that, so I got them to measure. Turns out it was email. Nobody was clicking the email. Email was getting opened, but nobody was clicking the email. Now, I want to show you something, but before I do, what if I told you, this is like a classic pitch, right? Hang on, let me do it properly. This isn't a pitch, but I want to make it sound like one. Does that look pitchy enough, Sassy? Yeah. This should be the still shot of the show right here. It's Friday, man. Come on, what do you expect? Got up at 3 o'clock this morning, not on purpose. All right, hang on, here it is. What if I told you you could double the size of your list without adding another subscriber? What if I told you you could double the size of your list and double your business without spending another $1 on advertising? Would you be interested? Okay, I just wanted to do that. That was it. Did that look good? Was that? Yeah, that was something. We should, now we could cut that one part out of the show and just make it something completely idiotic for the first time ever. But you know what, as dumb as that sounds, it's actually somewhat true. Now, how do you double the size of your list without getting more subscribers and without doing any more advertising? Physically, it's impossible, but metaphorically, it's 100% possible, because you can double the results you get from that same list. So if your list is producing X and it starts to produce 2X, even if the list is the same size, you get the net effect of having doubled it. So how do you do it? Well, you understand what it is for. So when it comes to email, most people are trying to drive the car with the transmission. They're trying to steer it with the transmission. That means, metaphorically, as it relates to email, they're trying to have the email do the wrong thing. There are really only 3 types of email sequences in existence. 3. All right, I like to simplify things, by the way. I literally have brain damage. Kid you not, actual brain damage. So I got to keep everything super simple. Stay in school, kids. Nancy Reagan was right. All that partying in the 90s and all the way up until 2010 did not really pay off for the old noggin. Actually had an MRI, a SPECT scan, brain damage. Thank you very much. So if I can do it, you can too. All right, so I got to keep things simple. So there are 3 types of email sequences, period. Type number 1 is a click sequence. The job of the click sequence is simply to get someone to go click the website. Well, if the job of the website is to get the sale, why would we want the click sequence to do anything else, right? Else. I just said else, by the way. Why would we want it to do anything else? Now, the second type of email sequence is a value delivery sequence. This is when we're giving people cool stuff that they ask for, right? Like in a launch, for example, when they opt in and then you send them the free videos. Purpose of that is basically to, here's your videos. Hope you enjoy. Now, what's the other motive of that? To get them to go watch the video. Why? Because if they don't go watch the video, they're not going to be, you're not going to be able to demonstrate you can help them by actually helping them in the video, and they're not going to be as likely to buy your stuff. The third and final type of email sequence is going to be a countdown sequence or sales sequence. That is when you are selling something and you've got a deadline. Almost anything you could do in promotional email marketing is going to fall into one of those three categories. And the good news is there's a framework for every single one of the categories. How do you like that? So let's talk about the one that gets botched most of the time, and that is the click sequence. This is where my buddy was going wrong. His click sequence was all hosed up. So I'm going to show a slide, and we'll make this slide full screen, I think, so they won't see me squinting trying to read what I wrote on the thing here. This computer today is just for show, by the way. It's not hooked up because we can't get the output right. So I'm looking at this on a little monitor that's dead in front of me. Okay, so this is the framework of how to have a click sequence email that actually works. Now remember, the goal of a click sequence is to get someone to go and click. So when we're looking at, remember I was talking about MODA? I said you want to measure and assess, right? And see what worked, what didn't. Well, in this case, when I'm going back to my friend now who wasn't having the good results, he was not getting the emails clicked. Well, so now we've measured, we said, okay, we have assessed the problem. The email was not getting clicked. So what is the root cause of that problem? So in an email, you basically have your first step of the email is to get that sucker opened. And there are two elements of your email that are going to get that sucker open. Go full screen again, thanks. All right, I don't want to be on camera, I'm weird looking today. I've been up all morning. Anyway, so your first one is going to be your subject line. The sole job of the subject line is to get the email opened. Now, imagine if everything else remained constant. Okay, so your clicks were exactly the same, everything else remained constant. If you doubled your open rate in your email sequences, you would effectively double the size of your list. Now, I know that's metaphorically speaking, but you would double the efficiency of the list. You would double the output of that list, which is the same as doubling the size. So it really makes sense to pay a lot of attention to it. So first of all, check your subject line. Now, I have found, strangely enough, and I say that with just the slightest hint of sarcasm, strangely enough, that direct and straightforward subject lines work really, really well. One that works really well all the time is name, please read. Why would I say that? Because I want them to read the email. Go figure. Now the next thing that you see here, thing number 2, is the first sentence of the email. So if you're in your Gmails, or your Yahoos, or your Hotmails, or whatever you have, you kids these days with your hippity hop music and your Twitters, right? If you're in your email client and you open that sucker up, you'll notice that you can see a lot more than just the subject line of the email. You'll see the subject line and then you'll see like the first sentence or at least part of it. Well, if you make that first sentence interesting, it will increase the open rate of the email. Remember, it is physically impossible for them to click the email contents if they don't open it, right? So, if we look at an email as a microscopic machine that is part of the greater whole, we realize that that machine is composed of tiny little parts, each doing a very specific job, just like a car. So your sentence, your subject line rather, and your first sentence, those little gears are designed, their whole job is designed to get that sucker opened without, of course, being a peckerhead. I mean, you wouldn't want to have it say, you know, they're killing your neighbors, and then your first sentence and the body of your email has nothing to do with that. You don't want to be dumb about it, but you get the point, right? So let's kind of look at that first sentence. I'm pretty sure this directly affects you. Now, notice how I've got things in blue in this email template right here for you, which I should make this downloadable, but I don't have it handy for you. My apologies there. I'll get better at this as we go along. Now, everywhere I've got blue, those are links. Now, notice I've got, in that one sentence I've got, I'm pretty sure this directly affects you. The reader, even if there was nothing left in the email, the reader is going to wonder what this is. I'm giving them the ability to click the word this, thus increasing the clicks. Now, the third thing, the third element in this email is a graphical representation of the thing I'm telling them about. In this case, I'm using my book, which you can get, by the way, shameless plug, at newkernbook.com. That's newkernbook.com. Operators are standing by. I'm using the image of the book just because it was one I had handy. Now, the International Bureau of Internet Statistics, which of course is a made-up bureau, but according to the all-knowing they say that images in your email get more clicks. I've tested it. It worked for me. Never accept anything as gospel truth except the actual gospel, and test everything yourself. But in my tests, having an image of the thing you want them to go find out about increases your click-through rate. The trick is you want to make the image clickable. So that is thing number 3 of an email that works real good, to use proper grammar. Now, thing number 4 is we're going to get what's called an early CTA. Our goal of things 3 and 4 is to get the click. So right here, the sentence that I say is it's a new thing, it's a new book, it's a new report, it's a new video, it's a new webinar, it's a new product, it's a new class, whatever, right? So don't say thing, of course. Put like whatever it is that's relevant there. It's a new thing that shows you how to, big benefit, grow better tomatoes, raise better children, have a better marriage, get more clients, save money on taxes, invest better, whatever. Right? Now notice I have again the words new thing hyperlinked. So if we just look at things 2, 3, and 4, every single one of those elements gives the reader the opportunity to click without me saying click here, without me listing a web address, and without me particularly being obnoxious. All right, now, thing number 5 is we got to sell. We have to sell everything. Even if it's free, this is the internet. So people are a little bit ADD on the internet. I mean, right now, you were in the middle of doing something and you started watching this show. Your clients are doing the exact same thing. So we have to sell them on why we would want them to take the action that we're recommending. And of course, here's where we can make or break this email. So many people want to make the email and the promotion and the web pages and the ads about them. Guess who cares about us? Our moms. That's about it. Our spouses and our moms, not our kids. I can tell you that right now. It's our moms and our spouses care about us. Our customers do not. They only care about themselves. So in our next section here, which is section numero 50, we want to have the benefits of the thing that we're telling them to go check out. Now remember, this is an email for a free thing, right? So plus you'll also see, discover, learn, whatever. And now we've got ourselves some good old bullet points. And I've given you some formulas. How to benefit without bad stuff is a classic bullet formula. It's also a classic headline formula. Notice I have the benefit part in blue. So if this was how to grow giant tomatoes without breaking your back, I would have the words grow giant tomatoes linked to the thing I want them to click on. Second bullet is what never to do when you want to goal. Goal being the result thereafter. What never to do when you want to get a second date. For example, I actually stole this. This is a bullet point formula. I stole this bullet point formula from the people at a boardroom. I think it was Boardroom or Agora. I get them confused. Sorry, fellas. I stole it from Brian Kurtz. I'll give him credit where credit is due. And it was from the promotion, What to Never Eat on an Airplane. You got to know. Their answer, by the way, was everything. Never eat anything on an airplane. The third bullet point is why everything you've learned about goal, why everything you've learned about trout fishing is dead wrong and what you should do instead. Notice I've got what you should do instead link. Now here, come back to split screen for just a second there. Now notice, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places where they can click in this email. 6 different opportunities for them to click. Why do we want to do that? Because what's the job of the email? The job of the email is to get the click. See, when you get micro OCD like this, you can really increase your results if you understand the job that everything is supposed to perform. Now, our final part here is, or almost final part here, is step number 6, which is to sell the click one more time, your second call to action. So notice I've really only got 2 direct calls to action, number 4 and number 6. All right, so right here, you can get it here now. The purpose of that one sentence is to simply sell the click. And finally, we just sign off and have the PS. You gotta have a PS. What kind of marketers would we be if we didn't have a PS? The all-knowing they say that PSs get you more response. I believe they do. Why? Because they give the reader another opportunity to respond. In this case, I'm impersonating Rick James, attorney at law. What if there is an actual attorney named Rick James? If there is, this was an accident, and I'm sure he's the greatest attorney in the world. I was referencing the singer. But here, check it out. P.S. In case you skip to the P.S. like me, here's the deal. You can get a free thing that shows, gives, helps you get goal here. And I should have had the word here as a hyperlink. And that is the framework for a click sequence email that works. So, it's time for a blatant pitch. Are you ready? Now, I want to tell you to do something. Then I'm going to show you a commercial while I get some water here. I want you to I want you to text my office. You see those girls on the screen? That's Aurora and Ashley. They are very smart, very capable women, they are not particularly good negotiators. So here's what you have an opportunity to do. You can get really anything of mine that you want for a discount that you negotiate with them that is within reason. So if you like the stuff that you're seeing on the show and you're thinking, hey, maybe this guy's materials are pretty good, and you want to get a discount on some of it, text the number that you see on their screen, text the word deal to that number. One of those two will text you back and say, hey, okay, what do you want? And then you tell them, and then tell them how much of a bargain you want, and if it's within reason, they'll say, okay, and they'll send you a link. Pretty simple. We've been doing this to test to see if it works, and so far, so good. Works a little bit better in email and on a web page than on a show like this, because a lot of y'all are watching this on your phones. You don't want to have to go back and forth, but still works better than if we didn't do it. So what commercial should we show while I drink some water prior to our wrapping up the show? Let's, which one do you want to do? You know what it'll be Sassy's Choice, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds good. It's Sassy's Choice. Your choice, Sassy. Okay. I'm just going to stand here. There we go. I want you to imagine that you have a business and your business is growing so quickly and there are so many new customers entering your marketplace that no matter how many customers you sell to, no matter how many sales you make every single day, there's still more demand than you could possibly ever meet, which of course is every business owner's dream, to have so many customers knocking at your door that you can't actually service them all. Well, I have good news for you. Chances are you might already be in that business, or at the very least, you're considering it. Those are 20 European seconds. Those are 20 Italian seconds. They're a little longer. You know, those guys are a little more laid back. All right, that was our final commercial for the show. You know, if you're a marketing nerd like me, you want to know how this thing's working, right? Why would you do the show? Why in the world would someone who is as introverted and strange as I am leave the house, drive 17 miles down to this studio, which incidentally is roughly 7,000 degrees in here. If I were to turn around and take this jacket off, it would look like I just sprinted a mile in the heat. So hot in here. Why would you do it? And is it making any money? Is there a measurable ROI? The answer is strangely yes. I have been measuring what happens at the domain names I'm giving you. So like newkernbook.com and what was it, free, I forgot the video link that I just showed in the commercial. I told you, brain damage. Already forgot what the link was. I'm measuring those. I'm tracking what's happening. And to date, as of episode 3, the shows have been produced just around $10,000. I don't have the reports right in front of me, but around $10,000 in revenue, which is crazy. Of course, I mean, that's over 3 weeks, so it's not like a game-changing thing, and it's quite a bit of an ordeal to make them. So the other reason I'm doing it is because I want to get in front of binge watchers. I don't know if you've ever done this, and maybe it's just me. All right, maybe I'm the only weird person here, but do you find yourself like if you get interested in a certain person or a certain topic or whatever, you'll go to YouTube or something and consume every amount of content that you can find on that topic or person and like binge watch it? That led to a $20,000 sale with me as the customer. So about, gosh man, 7 million years ago, I bought a product by a guy named Dan Sullivan called Pure Genius, I think. And it was a pretty good product. I wasn't ready for it at the time. I was looking for like ways to make better headlines. It was all about strategic thinking and making things simpler. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Dean Jackson recommended it to me. Anything Dean recommends is going to be good. So I'm like, all right, I'm not quite there yet. You know, fast forward to 2012. I started thinking, okay, maybe I'm there now. You know, I kind of figured out how to write headlines okay. I'm good with the tactics, all right. I want to start thinking about strategy. And I kind of got into it a little bit and then sort of like got distracted or whatever. Fast forward again, okay, to 2014, I got re-interested in Dan Sullivan because I was talking to Dean Jackson, and it started resonating with me. And I went on to the YouTubes, and I watched every interview with Dan Sullivan that I could find, every video of his. I listened to every podcast with him on it. And I didn't do it like casually. I binged it. I got all hopped up on Dan Sullivan, and as a direct result, I called them and said, hello, strategic coach, would you kindly take $20,000 from me and allow me to become a member of your coaching program? To which they, being Canadian, very politely said, of course, we'd be delighted to. And I gave them my money. There was zero selling involved. I went to them and said, please take my money. So I do the show because it plants seeds of goodwill. It genuinely helps people, and it helps convert people who are interested into being super interested. So those are my ulterior motives, and I recommend that you also duplicate those. So thus concludes an almost on time, or a little bit over time, almost on time episode number 4 of the Frank Kern Show, brought to you live from 7 million degree weather in this strange meth lab looking industrial complex here in San Diego. I'll see you maybe next week. We might skip next week because I have a live event on Friday. So if I see you next week, it'll be Monday, and or not Monday, Wednesday or something. And actually, I'd say I'll let you know, but I won't. I'll just do it on Facebook and you'll see it, because I'm not advertising the show yet. I'm waiting to see what happens organically. So far, we're reaching a little more than 100,000 people per episode, which is crazy. All right, guys, keep up the good work. Let me know if I can help you. Text the number on your screen if you want yourself a bargain. And hey, have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other. I'll see you soon.